Good evening, everybody. This is Omar surrounded with the Tilted Lawyer podcast. I'm joined by legendary Cassidy O'Connell.
Hey
And we are
guys.
here to talk about Lively versus Baldoni, which we haven't done in months, I feel like. We've been doing a lot of Murdaugh stuff, which is
Yeah,
fun.
I don't think you and I have what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, well, these depositions came out, and I couldn't ignore the depositions. And I've been kind of following. It's not that I didn't want to cover some of this stuff. It's just that some of this stuff, I can't just like every time they drop something, just like drop everything I'm doing and cover only that.
Right.
Otherwise, yeah.
Right.
And so I'm trying to pick and choose, but I feel like these deposition leaks justified coming on and I try to get Lauren Nighty in here, but it's way past her bedtime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And she's probably honestly laying on her bed, like affected by multiple gummies, if I were to guess, just knowing her a little bit.
Oh, I think she quit that. I think she said the other night. Yeah.
Well, good for her.
She said, I think that's what she said. But
you know what's funny, when she's over at my house.
My echo gone, guys. I had my YouTube had opened up and started playing, so I think I got it turned off.
Let me make sure Lauren's not texting me, so I don't have to.
Okay. Before we start this, what can Wayfair? I'm going to put you on the spot with the question. What can Wayfair do about this leak legally?
Here's the thing, man.
They've written a letter to the court, but they sealed it. So we have no idea what that was.
They have violated federal rules of redaction, basically keeping private information private. They have been warned that this is a high-profile case. They've been on notice since that very first hearing that we all listened to way back, I think back in January, February of 25. And so they had provisions for attorneys' eyes only, and they said that they were going to do their utmost best, their college level best to make sure that all of this stuff stayed private. And look, it's just a little bit suspicious when they redact everything else but for the other side, you know? And then at what point do we not start calling them out for some of the MG Law's in the house? What's up, man? I hadn't heard from MG Law in a minute. I would have thought he'd be mad at me because I just did a political stream. He does not agree with my politics. But I still love MG Law. I love this. I haven't heard from him in a minute. It's so good to see him here. T-Rex with a 5 says, hey, MG Law sent me here, possible raid incoming. Oh, that warms my heart. It really does. So much so, I forgot what I was ranting about. What was I talking about?
We were talking about what Wayfair can do about this.
Well,
you were saying all of the things that were put in place. Mind you, what you were talking about, the attorney's eyes only and that stuff, is stuff that they demanded. I remember that hearing. And originally it was like, we've already got things set in place. We don't need this. And they were like, no, we have to have this. And now they're the ones that can't stop breaking the rules.
It's like, you know what? Some of this stuff, if I was a judge, like, look, I was born, but I wasn't born yesterday. Come on now. I mean, all of these leaks, I feel like this has been happening a lot. You keep on leaking shit from people that you don't like. Content creators aside, I mean,
you know what?
Baldoni's address.
This is exactly why, and I said it the night I was crying about it. This is exactly why I did not want these people to have my information, because I did not want this to happen to me, because they are not careful with people's private information.
Yeah, no, you could say, oh, well, they just let the intern handle it and the intern failed. No, man, look, you guys are a sophisticated law office. You guys are billing millions of dollars a month in attorney fees and costs. You guys know how to do this. I'm not buying the excuses. You've been dealing with this case specifically since the end of 2024. And so miss me with all of this. You know, it was an accident. At some point, they gotta get
inadvertently, their favorite word, inadvertently.
I know, inadvertently my ass. T-Rex, thank you so much for 5, says, the attorney's eyes only stuff is reminding me of the Tyler Roberts case and how the media is a limited access party in the case. Tyler Roberts, who was that? Am I missing? Who was Tyler Roberts?
He's the one who was sent here by your law friend.
By my law friend? Who's my law friend? I have many.
It was just in the chat a few minutes ago.
Oh, MG Law. Okay.
Yeah, he said MG Law sent me here.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome, Tyler Roberts. My apologies for the inartful introduction, I guess. I didn't mean to. I'm not a perfect guy by any means. And I've had a little bit of whiskey tonight. So how about that?
Hey, can you throw up Parsons Hayden comment, please?
Hayden,
1:12 a.m.
There we go. What bothers me is that Lyman responded immediately, lightning quick, when BL's deposition was filed on the docket under seal. He did. I remember
that?
Later.
That was my first thought when this happened. I was like, do you remember? But I was in Germany, so I think you.
Even without her complaining first, but this he hasn't responded to yet. Hey, I feel like I understand why people are upset with Lyman. I feel like leaking a party in the case's address, who is also a celebrity, because of this case, because
who has had death threats and who has small children.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
When we've had these discussions about attorneys' eyes only stuff and needing to be vigilant about keeping sensitive information out of the public, I feel like this should have been dealt with quicker than what's been displayed here. And I think that sanctions would be appropriate, even if only monetary. I don't know. I just feel like I'm not
needs to buy Justin a new house. He needs to buy them both, Justin and Jamie, new houses.
I mean, that would be
well, not him, but he needs to make Blake's team do it.
Well, they had to move. I just learned that from you, as a matter of fact, like 30 minutes ago.
Justin had just moved his family, and now he's, got to worry again.
Yeah. T-Rex Travels with a 5 says, Tyler Robinson, the Charlie Kirk alleged assassin. So, that Tyler Robinson, that's who we're talking about? The assassin of Charlie Kirk. Was he actually the assassin? Was it somebody else? Do you buy the conspiracy theories? I told you I wasn't going to make you talk about politics. Don't answer that, Cassidy. I will.
Yeah, I actually have no idea the answer to that question.
Yeah, I have no idea either. I don't know. I've heard all the conspiracy theories. I know who Tyler Robinson is, the prime suspect. No comment further on that. I just don't know. I don't know, but I got a lot of suspicions. By the way, did you see Erica Kirk cozying up to, you know what? I said we weren't going to do this. We're not talking about anything political. All right.
There's too much going on in the world, I tell you.
There is, man. Let me see. All right. So as far as the leaks, this is my take on it as a lawyer. There's not a chance. I just feel like if this were to happen to me and I wasn't opposing counsel on this case, I would 100% think that it was intentional. I'd just be like, there's no chance they didn't do that shit on purpose.
Exactly. And it drives me crazy that Lyman has been absolutely silent, because do you remember when Taylor Swift came up? This is why in my thumbnails, when I make his little chambers, there's a big old picture of Taylor Swift on the wall.
Yeah.
Because sua sponte, he jumped in and struck something from the docket to protect her. Nobody asked him to do that, and he did it, and he did it lightning fast. Now we have two actual families. There are wives and little children.
Yeah.
And two families, and he has remained silent, and he has already had to warn Blake's team after multiple doxing after doxing after doxing. When Wayfair finally said something, he had to issue a statement. So this isn't a first time. And he has sat there stone cold silent. Where's his all that sua sponte action now?
Hey, Cassidy, still on stage with me? I'm like playing. I'm trying to get you on the screen. I don't know what it did. I pressed something.
Oh, okay.
That one.
I don't have any mealy screenshots for tonight. So.
I can't.
We just have a blank screen up there.
Without
What's
the use
that?
of mule, we cannot have a live stream without something being muley. I don't know what has to be muley, but something's gonna have to be muley.
No, I
Oh,
slept until we got home last night and went I was so tired. I went to bed at like 9, which like never ever happens. And then I woke up middle of the night and I was starving, so dug into some of the snacks we brought back and then started watching a documentary, fell asleep, and I slept till I don't know, 3 or 4 this afternoon. And then I
man.
woke up and, like, I'm just so groggy, and I, like, printed a bunch of stuff I printed out the depositions because I just work better with them on paper,
Yeah, I know
and
what you
then
mean.
I have another very exciting story that I'm working on, and I just, like my brain wouldn't, like, fully engage, so I didn't really get much done today,
Yo, I'll tell you
but,
what, my wife's been out of town for all week. She's in North Carolina right now, matter of fact,
oh, nice.
on a business trip, and so it's just been me and the girls, and, it's not going well. I mean, it's going fine. Everybody's fine. I'm just saying
Everyone's alive.
yeah, I'm just saying that I've got maybe 10 hours of sleep. I just when she's not here, man, like, I notice everything. I hear everything. I got 3 dogs. They snore, they're loud, and then I'm dealing with, like, rooms that smell like pee because the girls are still in that stage, you know? You know what they do? So,
Don't
Sunday
embarrass your
night
daughters.
oh, they're 5 and 6. They can handle it. They're fine.
Okay.
And they wouldn't be listening to this anyway, but they're like, rather than waking up and going to the bathroom, this is what they'll do. They don't wanna sleep in a peed-in bed, and they don't wanna pee in their pajamas. So they will pee on a stuffed animal in the middle of the night and then go back to bed. And I'm just like, what the That's what I'm dealing with. That's what I'm dealing with.
Okay,
That's
I've
the
never
women
heard
with
of
the
that.
girls. Well, they're innovative, I guess. I mean, it's creative. I mean, logical. So that's what my house smells like. It smells like pee constantly, constantly. To the point where it's like sometimes I walk in there's like, you know what? I ain't doing this morning. I'm just you all get yourself ready. Just put your peed-in clothes in the washer.
A pee
Um,
plushie.
I haven't tried a potty
Like
chair in the bedroom, but that's a really good idea.
yeah.
I just figured they could just get up and go to the bathroom. It's just right there. Maybe that's you know what? That's probably the move. That's probably the
That's the
move.
move. Yep, that's the
Oh.
move.
T-Rex travels with the 10 says, my apologies. I wasn't trying to derail. I was just saying that even though attorneys have a duty of candor to the court, attorneys' eyes only tends to almost always inevitably get leaked by one specific side.
Yeah.
I don't
I
recall any
I
instances of
just
the other side leaking anything.
I just can't see how this was an inadvertent leak, though.
Oh, I get
I
it
just
just doesn't seem like it was inadvertent. No, I agree with you. There's no chance it was inadvertent. By the way, Gilda Garcia says, "Hey, focus." Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
and even, like, what was the point? The judge has already said you can't just throw up whole depositions. Everybody had a copy. It's not like they needed to share it with the other side. What was the point?
I'll
What
tell you
was the
what,
point
I have
of putting them
never
on there when the judge has said, "Don't do this"?
yeah, I've never in my
Like,
entire career
try this, chocolate thing. It's so
th
good.
there's what about a chocolate thing?
Oh, he just brought me these little shortbread covered in
Oh, is that
chocolate.
your
And
caffeine for the evening?
I had already opened this, German chocolate noir, this black chocolate bar. It's 74%. I like really dark chocolate. I don't like milk chocolate. I don't like things that are really, really sweet. I like really, really rich, but not sweet.
Hey,
Like,
Cassidy,
that's
Gilda Garcia said to focus. We need to get
oh,
to the
sorry,
top of
Gilda.
this.
It's chocolate, though. Well, hopefully, it will help me focus. It's got a little
Yeah,
caffeine.
hopefully. There was another, oh, there was something I wanted to put up on the screen. Oh, somebody said, here's some freedom dollars, just Khaleesi with the 5. Thank you so much, Khaleesi. I appreciate that.
Aw.
I was going to say that I've never I've been practicing for 12 years already. I have. I've been practicing for 12 years now. Well, in my 12-year career, I have never, ever, ever filed an entire deposition for any reason whatsoever as an exhibit or otherwise. If I need to attach excerpts of a deposition, I would do that,
Right.
but never the entire thing. And they're always, always, always redacted. And I'm not representing Justin Baldoni or celebrities for that matter. You have to. You got to comply with the rules. And so,
Well, the judge ruled that after they put up Blake's deposition, the whole deposition. He was like,
we don't
"No."
have to rewrite the law. It's literally there's a federal rule that says that you can't do that. And so, I forgot, was it Rule 5.11 or something that they had violated that they are in violation of by virtue of this leak?
I don't remember off.
I wrote it down. I think it was 5.11. But there's federal rules that say you can't just post the entire 300-page deposition transcript without redacting it. Number one, there's no reason to do that. Number two, not redacting it is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Now, look, I can see if this was like a first or a second year associate that's, running their private practice somewhere or whatever, and they're inexperienced, even they would get in trouble. But an experienced, sophisticated law firm such as them.
I mean, you know how many eyes something goes through first in a law firm.
I'll tell you what.
And I've never been in one the size of theirs.
Yeah, there's never anything that gets out in my office, which is not nearly the size of their office, that doesn't go through multiple sets of eyes. And so
Exactly.
And it's not even just for proofreading. It's just to make sure that we're not sending out or filing stuff with information that we don't want the other side to see, or that's confidential, or that's attorney privileged, or so on. There's reasons behind all of this. And certainly, if I, like, for example, I just worked on a high profile case. If I took great care to not to make sure that none of the public information or private information became public because of obvious reasons, especially in a high profile case like that. And this firm is well versed in how to deal with these celebrities. And so what should be the results? I really feel like if Lyman does not sanction them for this, I'm going to start looking at him sideways. Now, look, it's not that I've defended Lyman. I've just tried to rationalize his decisions at every turn. And I've disagreed with most of them. But if he doesn't discipline them in some way, and look, it's possible that he's going to discipline them behind the scenes and not make it public, maybe. But if no discipline comes to them because of this, I'm going to start looking at Judge Lyman sideways, because this is bullshit.
Yep.
You're interfering with people's lives. If somebody's actually moving because private information got out and it's putting their families in jeopardy, and because they've gotten death threats and there's small children involved in the family, we got to do something about that.
Right.
Even if it's not affecting the merits of the case, it's affecting people's lives, and he has every mechanism to respond.
He took his family to Hawaii for months when this first started because they were getting death threats. And then they went somewhere else, and then they ultimately moved. And nobody knew that. But Blake sure took, her team sure took care of that. Now everybody knows.
There's some people
who know where he moved to, and it's sickening. I couldn't even talk about this for a few days. I was glad that I wasn't at home, because I was like, I cry when I get angry, and I was so angry, and just there's no excuse. There's no way they can say it was an accident, and this judge should have taken the way that he did before to protect Taylor Swift. I will never forget that. Where is that energy now? Taylor Swift, who's surrounded by bodyguards all the time, secluded in an untouchable place, not that someone couldn't get to her at some point, and not that she, we should just expose her. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is this is a vulnerable family with little children.
Yeah.
Where is your anger now? Where is all your reaction now?
I'll
Is it
tell you
it
what.
was just for Taylor Swift? Nobody else?
And I know that you've dealt with some of this stuff, and in the limited time that I've had to deal with stuff like people saying things about my family, the
Mhm,
level of anger and rage that I felt and the very minimal stuff that I had to experience in working a certain case, um, I just, and there's some people that would say, "Oh, poor baby, he had to go flee to Hawaii for a few months while he was getting death threats. Boo hoo for him." Look, man, when people come for your family like that, there's just a whole nother level of evolutionary anger that comes out of you.
mhm,
And I cannot describe to you the level of anger that I felt when people were saying things about my family based on
mhm.
cases that I worked, and just this instinct that I had to literally murder, Like if I was
Right.
standing in front of the person that did it, who knows what would have happened? Just the instinct was there, and the anger was there, and it was like I don't cry. I don't cry when I get angry like you do. It comes out a completely different way. There's like this deadly silence. Like, and I had to talk about it with my wife, and she had to talk to me and say that it wasn't a big deal, but it
Mhm,
was a big deal, and I was silently brooding for like months
mhm.
after just this one little small thing happened, to the point where it's just a good thing that we're separated by hundreds of miles. It just is. It just is. And so for Justin Baldoni to have to undergo that and to have his address, his personal address, his where he resides with his family, released to the general public like that, I could only imagine the anger that he felt and what he was going through, even if he had the means to go um, flee to Hawaii for a couple of months or whatever. Still, it's
Still.
it's really deep.
And, I mean, you know what's already happened to Steve's family? I mean, they followed his daughter to her college dorm to find out
Yeah.
where she lived. They threatened to kidnap her. They threatened to kidnap his wife. They started a fire on his property, and he's in a nice neighborhood, like, he's a wealthy man, but
Pretty sure your daughters will kill you for the peace story. Well, not anytime soon. You know what? That's gonna when they
I'm
get
on the
married.
record saying not to do it, so
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna bring that up like at their quinceañera or something, or their wedding.
not their wedding. Please don't do that at their wedding.
Let me tell you something about my daughter. When she was getting potty trained, oh, I'll be old enough. I'm not gonna care, man. I'm gonna say what I want. Just leave grandpa alone. How about that? Don't ask me to babysit for shit. Obviously, I'm gonna babysit. I'm just saying, man. I am keeping score. All of these stories, they're just in my stockpile, and I will pull them out at opportune times. And it will be funny. They're gonna be embarrassed, but they will laugh. And you know what? That's the good stuff, isn't it? That's just those are the things that make it worth it to be a dad. If I didn't have those moments, I wouldn't want to be a dad at all. Because what's it for? I got to like deal with like pee smell all day. There's got to be some payoff for this at some point. And the payoff for me is going to be when I'm telling stories at their wedding or their anniversary or their quinceañera or their sweet 16 or their college graduation. I'm bringing out all the stories. That is my inherited right as a father. How about that? Yeah.
Well, as long as you spoil them,
Oh, they're pretty spoiled right now. So
I figured. Dads and daughters.
yes, ma'am. And I am a girl dad, and so it's the thing about them. The thing about being a girl dad is you really have to tone down your rhetoric. You really do. Like there's a certain way that I feel like I would deal with boys. I would
Mhm,
just be so less sympathetic to their feelings.
mhm.
You can't do that with girls, man. You just
Nope,
can't. You
our
can't get
feelings
mad
are
at
too
them. You
big.
can't yell at them. Yeah. You can't use your big voice. You just, man, when I talk to my girls, it's like this morning when I was telling them to hurry up, we're going to be late for school. Dad, It hurts my feelings when you use your big voice. It's like, I did not use my big voice. I was just talking. Here's my little voice. It was your big voice and it hurts my feelings. Okay, well, what if I talk like this? That's still your big voice. Well, what do you want me to say then? I'm just, you know what? I'm just going to write it down. How about that? Little brats. Oh, just, I'm going, you know what? I'm just having a week because it's just me by myself with the girls and I'm having a week. That's all.
Okay, we'll let you have it. You know what? When I was looking through this, and that's where this doxing came from the deposition that was taken by Stephanie Jones's attorney.
Yeah.
And to me, it was so weird. Like that's the first question out of this person's mouth, and is well, actually, not the very first thing. The first thing was like asking about how he prepared for his deposition, and then she's like, "Do me a favor and state your full name and address for the record." And I'm like, "Why was that? Why was that even necessary?"
It's just
if you look, what's that?
Just to give you some background, that always happens. Like there's always like a preliminary set of like introductory.
But like Gottlieb didn't. When Gottlieb started, he didn't.
Well,
so you don't see it in every.
Yeah.
I felt like, what was this for? Was this?
I'll give you an example.
Was this for this?
Let me put it this way: if you were my client, I would know everything about you. I would know where you live. I would know your name. I would know how to spell your name. I would know all of these things. But the first thing, like usually the first question is, hey, state your name for the record and spell it for the court reporter or whatever. And it's just like getting into a rhythm. Sometimes you start asking these preliminary questions. So what were you doing on the day of whatever? And then what happened? And then it's like getting into a rhythm, asking the questions. Just as a practitioner, I understand the introductory questions. And then some more experienced attorneys, they don't need all of that. Like for me, like I used to do that when I was younger.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you're right. Because Gottlieb, he just goes straight into
just like, good morning. Were you ever assaulted?
Exactly. Yeah.
Or were you ever sexually harassed?
That's kind of what I do. It's like, hey, so what happened in the morning of August 16th, 2025? Just get right. He gives a shit. You told your name for the right. You swore yourself in. We know who you are. What happened? Some attorneys do that. Others that are not as accustomed to public speaking, maybe they're a little nervous. Maybe they're just, they got the jitters. They got to get the first couple questions out, and they're usually the softball ones.
Yeah. So then, let me see. What was I going to say about this attorney too? Then she goes into, I don't know if it's a he or she. I think I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, Cassidy. I got asked this question earlier. Share the source where we're using for the depots. So I actually have the unredacted version of the deposition, and I got that from Lauren Knighty. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know where you got yours from, but I got mine from Lauren, which is the reason why I'm not displaying mine, because I don't know. I haven't read all 350 some odd pages of it. And so I don't know if there's any unredacted stuff. I don't want to display it if there is. But yeah, there was a period of time where you could have downloaded this from Pacer, but that's over. Which is why I had to get mine from Lauren. And Lauren, she like sits there and watches the docket, and the second something drops, she's automatically downloading it. She spends thousands of dollars a month on Pacer, and I thank her for her contribution. And so if you haven't already, go and give her a subscribe and become a member of her channel, because she really is spending a lot of money on this case. I mean, she's probably making a good amount, but she's certainly coming out of pocket for it too.
Yeah, and I don't think they're available anywhere publicly right now since they got yanked.
They're not.
So
I know that because I looked.
Yeah, you got to find someone who got them when they were available.
I will say that there is on Reddit, it ends with lawsuits. The Reddit account, it ends with lawsuits, has all of the depositions available for download. And I got to imagine, although it hasn't been updated like in a month, that this deposition will make its way there eventually. Perhaps. That's my take.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Cassidy. What were you saying?
No, it's okay. It's okay. So he or she goes right into this about recording phone calls, and then keeps asking like, where were you when you did it? And where was the person that you were calling or you were recording. So I know a lot of states have the two-party consent. And I
Yes.
think California is one, right? Is one
Yes.
of those. So, and I know that that's illegal even if you just keep it for your own purposes, right? Even if you
Negative.
don't do anything with, oh, negative. Okay. So she makes a big deal about this. So I was wondering, I wanted to ask you to talk about that because she really does like spend several pages
Yeah.
asking questions about who you recorded and what state they were in. And so, and this is uh, ironically, like
Do
I
you remember
said, this
what
is
pages those were?
Stephanie Jones' attorney, and
Yeah.
she's the Van Zandt person that
Right.
provided everything to Blake. So it's to me so ironic that that's her making this big deal. So I was going to ask if you could give us some expertise on that topic.
Yeah. So the thing about surreptitious recordings, especially in a two-party state, is they're not admissible. And so I don't know what
Mhm,
specific portion of the deposition you're referring to, but I'm guessing if they're asking questions about that and they were talking about states and where were you at when you did this and that,
mhm.
it's specifically to deal with admissibility issues at trial. Because, for
Okay.
example, I have a case right now where there is a surreptitious recording that was recorded in a public place. And so the issue is going to become whether or not a surreptitious recording in a public place is admissible because the person in public would have had no reasonable expectation of privacy. Where you
Mm,
do have an expectation of privacy is in your own home or on the phone with
right.
some other person, right? And so that's the obvious one. There is a small loophole in California where if you are surreptitiously recording somebody else, even without their consent, it will be admissible to prove instances of domestic violence. And I've used that
Oh,
loophole multiple times, but like 99% of the time, those recordings are not coming in. So you could have them. And yeah, there is a penal code section that where you will get prosecuted or could potentially be prosecuted for recording somebody unknowingly, but you have to publish it somewhere first. And there's other things, but like sometimes you record people by accident. Like
mhm,
nowadays with AI and advancements to like Android phones or iPhones, like some phones just record automatically.
mhm,
And some people don't know that it's recording. Some apps like will give an announcement that you're being recorded. Some will not. Some have the option to turn the announcement off. You're not throwing everybody in jail that accidentally recorded somebody over the phone. And
mhm.
so usually prosecution of that, like it's twofold. Like sometimes there was one specific instance where it had a child that specifically secretly recorded a mediator that was interviewing him in a custody case.
Oh.
And this mediator was like going in on him and like making him feel a certain way for saying certain things, basically trying to say that he was being coached and he didn't believe the kid. And it happened enough time that this kid took it upon himself to record him. And he brought the recording to me and said, could we do anything with this? And I'm like, I had to call the chambers conference with the judge and say, look, I got this kid. He recorded this thing. And I had opposing counsel in there with me because, look, I got this recording. I know it's an illegal recording, but he has this and it goes to the merits of the case. Now, look, if he's willing, because what would have happened for me to try to introduce it, number one, it would have been objected to.
Mhm,
But the reason it would have been admissible is because it would have been direct impeachment evidence. In other words, I was going to question this mediator. Did you try to intimidate my client? Did you say this or did you say that to the client? And if they would have said no, I would have been like, well, I have this recording. And then there would have been objections like that was an illegal, inadmissible recording. And then there would have been a big sidebar, which is why I brought it to the judge's attention before the whole thing. I just said,
mhm,
look, if I have the opportunity, I'm going to impeach with this. And so here's the legal ramifications. You're 100% subjecting yourself to criminal liability. Because in this case, I don't think the kid would have been on the hook. I think it would have maybe been the parents potentially. But what DA is going to pick up that case? So by trying to introduce it, I was 100% admitting that my client committed a crime. But at the
mhm,
same time, I was impeaching the testimony of a really important witness in a child custody case, and the judge needed to know about it. And so it
mhm.
was twofold. It was a fascinating legal conundrum. I don't
Yeah,
know
that
how I got on this rant, but that's kind of the why they're
what did the
probably
judge decide?
questioning. It didn't matter because we settled it because the
Oh, okay.
opposing counsel realized, like, yeah, I'm not getting this person impeached. This isn't going to go horribly. because the judge basically said that, I mean, they're allowed to use it for impeachment.
So do you think, sorry, go ahead.
No, the judge said you're allowed to use it to impeach. You just, if there's criminal liability, you have to know that. And I knew that, and we assumed the risk, or were prepared to assume the risk. I just did not see a prosecutor trying to put in juvie a 13-year-old kid in that scenario. And it worked out.
Yeah. So do you think that what they might be doing here is trying to make these things inadmissible before they can even be brought? Do you think that's
100%.
what they're trying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because there's some recordings. What the most interesting one to me was that he recorded Sean Levy. Did you read that part?
I didn't read the Sean. Full disclosure, I have not read the entire deposition. It's like 300 pages long. I just haven't.
And that's just one of them. The other one is like 600 pages, right?
Yeah, I think the thing I was focused on was Baldoni's accounts of being terrified of Reynolds and Lively stealing his movie and what they were capable of and doing and things like that. And then I was going to focus on the sanctions portion, which you've already discussed.
Well, the two of those situations are just what you said. The Sean Levy is the one where he says, and this was just absolutely Blake and Ryan put him up to this. And it was just another big name used to intimidate him, another dragon sort of situation. And rightly so, he said, like, this is what he says about it. He says, they're asking who is recorded, and he says Sean Levy. He's honest about it. And they ask, what do you recall about that call? He says, I recall he wanted to speak to me, and as we began talking, I got the feeling that he was calling to kind of adjust or course correct, which made me a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And they said that he says that it felt like that he was there to give advice on how to handle Blake. And to me, it just shows the underhanded behavior that this whole thing of them calling their dragons. This is just another case of that. And another one of the recordings, I think there's 4 in total, was the agent, the WME agent, and that was a phone call that he recorded, and that was about them where Ryan had written this statement that he wanted Justin and Jamie to read and take full blame. And that's another one that he recorded. So yeah, that was my thought, that maybe they wanted these out in the open, and they wanted to say, oh, these are inadmissible because you didn't notify these people.
Well, that's another thing that I was going to mention. Like when they released the entire deposition the way that they have, when they shouldn't have done that, there's no reason to do that. You have to believe that there's probably, like, for example, there is some that are unfamiliar with the case, or maybe familiar with the case, but like they get a whiff of Justin Baldoni saying that he was paranoid that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were trying to steal the movie out from under him. There is a world where attorneys believe that some people might view that as Justin Baldoni is unnecessarily paranoid and therefore not credible as a witness, and therefore an attempt to try to sway public opinion. Now, I don't believe that. I think the people reading that portion of Baldoni's testimony, I did highlight that portion because I thought it was interesting, because I used to have Anita on the show, and she came up with this theory about the movie being stolen and how it was like 2 to 3 years in the works, and then it was finally being executed. And it turns out that she was right basically about everything. And then here's Justin Baldoni literally testifying that, they were trying to, I thought they were trying to steal the moon. If they could steal the movie, then what else were they capable of? I was terrified of them. He literally says that in the deposition.
He does.
Testimony. Yeah, but when you have, now listen, I'll be really, I'm not going to pull any punches with this case. There is nothing in this case that spells sexual harassment to me. There is nothing of merit to those claims. And if this goes to trial, it's going to be a spectacular loss for them from any reasonable jury. This is a jury trial. They're going to lose. They may have some subtle claims for some of the breach of contract stuff or whatever. If they want to go after that, fine. But I think that they know that they have a weak case. And I think part of the benefit to them releasing this to the general public is to start to gauge. It's almost like hiring a focus group or like a mock jury. Not everybody's case is going to be like of public interest, but when it is of public interest, you get to test shit out. Like throw stuff out there, see how the public responds to this, see how it responds to that. What is people's objective opinions about this specific testimony or that specific testimony? I guarantee you the attorneys are paying attention to content creators' reactions to some of this deposition stuff in a way that they would not have had available to them had they complied with the rules related to redacting stuff.
I bet you're right. I bet you're right. This is a worldwide mock jury because we're coming up to, what are we coming up to? Settlement talks.
Yeah.
Settlement talks are on the 23rd.
We did get an extension on the trial, though, didn't we? It's not happening in March anymore?
It's in May. It's in May now. Yeah. But that could very well be it. You know what's funny is what the media has picked up on is they're coming back to Taylor Swift, and they're like, Justin's trying to expose Taylor Swift. That's what they're getting. We've got these entire depositions put out there. Justin and Jamie both doxxed with little families at home. And this is what the media jumps on. He's trying to force Taylor Swift. It's crazy. But you know what? That very well could be it. Because we're so close to the settlement talks.
No, it's the only thing that makes sense to me as an attorney. Like, wow, look, I'm just going to leak the entire deposition and just like sit back and watch content creators talk about the depositions because obviously they're going to do that. They've been waiting for the deposition stuff and they need to make content. This is ready-made content for them. They're going to talk about it. We get to gauge for free people's opinions about certain talking points. And so, yeah, are we risking sanctions? Sure. Is Judge Lyman going to is Judge Lyman going to sanction us? Nah, he ain't. He ain't going to sanction us for shit. He's been pretty lenient with this, and we could just say, "Oh, it was an accident. It was inadvertent. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Our interns fucked up. I don't know what to tell you, but we can correct it. Let's put it back under seal." They've been doing that. I feel like the entire time.
Yep.
Let me get to these super chats before I forget. Pandora Fox with the $2 says, "So much for fighting for women."
Right?
She ain't fighting for women, man. She's fighting for
women.
Yeah, it ain't women. I'll tell you that.
How many women has she put in danger or ruined their lives in some way?
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Look, anytime somebody brings a frivolous claim of sexual harassment and makes it, for public consumption and tries to make it bigger than it is, it drains the credibility of legitimate complaints worldwide, not just in America. I mean, we could focus on America, fine. But look, we have a long history of swinging to the extreme on either side. It used to be that, we didn't give a shit about sexual harassment awareness in America. And then we went all the way the opposite direction to where we were trying to prosecute Aziz Ansari for rape because he had sex with a lady that had buyer's remorse after the fact and says that, yeah, I willingly did it, but I felt bad about it afterwards. And then I feel like he just manipulated me. And, I think we should talk about it. And it's like, well, what are we doing right now? What is this Me Too movement actually about? I feel like we're missing the mark with this. And then now she's bringing this claim and she's saying that she was sexually harassed because Justin Baldoni created this unsafe work environment with all the women where nobody agrees with her that I've seen in anything related to anything with this case.
Well, the language has even changed. Like it's now hostile work environment.
Yeah. Hostile work environment, my ass. Created by who? I would argue it's hostile created by her and her husband. Because, he's coming after Justin Baldoni in like these group meetings and yelling at him or screaming at him or whatever he was doing. And she has her 17-point list. Who's creating the hostile work environment for who? Valid question, but what are we talking about actually?
Yeah.
Zaz, what is this?
I keep forgetting to look at the chat.
She with a $2 super. Thank you for that. No need to read the comments. Just wanted to donate to the cause, and I appreciate you. A House of Chatter podcast. Thank you. A similar donation. I got to check that out. Is that an actual podcast? House of Chatter. I'm going to Google that one. I'm going to check that one out later. But yeah, what do you think? What is your opinion? When we did the Murdaugh podcast, something that you had said really stuck with me because my wife is about to get on the plane. And then you said that, look, When you get on a plane, you could do whatever you want. You could like go spread eagle. You said spread eagles, like, oh, well, thanks
Yeah.
for that visual. You like fall asleep and nobody cares. And it's like, well, you're exactly right. That's exactly what I do. It's like, and then you're like, no matter how tired I am, I could never just fall asleep like that because I don't know who's sitting next to me. I don't know like what's going to happen. Like I could get like harassed, I could get groped, like, whatever. It's a scary thing for a woman to travel alone. And my wife was about to travel. And so it just made me think of that. What is your opinion of this lawsuit in light of your concerns living the life that you've led and dealing with the things that you've dealt with in life? How do you think that this has advanced the cause?
It hasn't. And my very first post I ever made when I first started to talk about this, because when I first read it, I'll admit I thought it was true. I didn't know Justin. I'd never heard of him before. I had no idea who he was. Blake, I'd only seen one movie. I didn't really know these people. I knew she was married to Ryan Reynolds. I'm not real big on following celebrities, but I thought someone, that's so well known is not going to make this up because, I mean, they'll be found out. And this article in the New York Times, like the New York Times, I had such a different concept of the media at the time. And so I really thought it must be true. And then as I started to be aware, I was just watching quietly. I didn't like the first time I heard it, I didn't talk about it. I was just watching quietly. And then all of a sudden I just became enraged. And that was my very first post, is that Blake Lively just destroyed the entire Me Too movement. And I have had experiences in my life that were real, that were terrifying, that were life altering. And so to see this woman come forward with this nonsense is so enraging to me. And I think that most of the women who are speaking on this feel the same way that I do, because we have had real things happen. And then to look at this nonsense, and that's what it is. It is nonsense. And for her to do this, it will now make thousands of women not be believed, not be taken seriously, or be too scared to open their mouths. And all of this effort of the bots, or whoever the people are that are supporting Blake and defending this, they also are having a role in making this worse. And I used to think like nobody would come forward and just make the stuff up. And then you find out, well, there are some that have done it. But every time there is one, and with this one being so humongous and so worldwide, the damage that it has done to true victims is what motivated me to speak out for like I said, that was my very first post. It's still up on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's and I put Blake's face, and that's what I said. The face of, I can't remember the exact words because that's like a year ago now. But that was my thing the entire time, is what this has done to actual victims. No one's going to believe. Women fought so hard to be believed. They would say I was raped. They would have, sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that on YouTube because they're so funny about certain words.
You're good. You know what to
But
learn? If you get past 20 minutes, you could say that and it's not going to harm anything.
Okay. So they would be like brutally questioned on the witness stand. They would be blamed for what happened to them, and then things had gotten better, and now this is just gonna it's just ruined it. It really and truly, I think, has ruined it.
Yeah, I recall when I first read this lawsuit, I remember just saying, I guess we'll see. I was looking for more meat on the bone with her complaints.
Yeah.
She was talking about hostile environments, and she was saying all the, the buzzwords or whatever. It's like, I guess we'll have to get into the discovery. And then after that, I think that the next thing that happened was the website dropped from Friedman, and just kind of giving Baldoni's perspective and the timeline. And that was kind of eye-opening. And then we had more questions, and then we were kind of waiting for, and they just never came. And so look, I deal with most of the cases that I deal with have some measure of domestic violence. I think probably 30 to 40% of my cases involve domestic violence. I just did another trial on domestic violence the other day, and it's just I deal with this. I feel like I'm pretty good at distinguishing the difference between manufactured DV and actual DV, and there is a difference. I mean, I deal with ladies that are getting the literal shit beat out of them. I mean, on a weekly basis, they're walking on eggshells. Like there's silence. They're afraid to speak. They're afraid to leave because where are they going to go? They've been they're separated from their families because they're out, over state lines. They have no money. They have no resources. They're financially dependent. And then they start asking questions. Well, why didn't you leave back then? Because I ain't got nowhere to go. I would literally be homeless with a 2-year-old. And then, just the disgusting tactics for people that defend people that commit these kinds of acts. It's hard enough to get a judge to genuinely believe that a legitimate DV victim is telling the truth, because they're always picking at them. Well, if you thought that, then why didn't you do this? If you didn't do that, then were you actually all that afraid? Or you're not really here because you got abused. You're just trying to get the upper hand in the custody battle, aren't you? You're just after his retirement account, aren't you? That kind of stuff. Constantly dealing with, the skepticism, not even from the judge, but from opposing counsel, just stepping into the mind of the judge. And so it's really hard. I mean, it feels like this daunting task to have my clients stand up there on the stand and get the judge to believe their story. I really have to focus on credibility. So when somebody like Blake Lively comes along with these bullshit accusations and allegations, declaring that this conduct somehow rises to the level of some of the real stuff that I've seen in my career, it is offensive in a way that I cannot describe to you. I mean, in a completely different way, because I'm not a woman, obviously, but I defend these women, and it's just so frustrating.
I love to hear that perspective.
I know what happens, because anybody that works in this profession becomes calloused to some of these things. It's gotten to the point where I've been doing this so long that anytime I see anybody cry on the witness stand, I automatically think that it's a put on. Like if I were to see you cry, and it might just be like that's just what you do. When you get emotional or anxious, you start crying. A lot of people do that, but I've seen it enough. I've seen it happen enough where it was 100% a put on, where when somebody starts crying, I believe them less. And if I'm having that opinion, I could only imagine what the judges are thinking that are dealing with these trials like every single day. And so it's unabashedly harmful that this case has risen to this level, gotten this level of attention, and that we're having to constantly talk about what a bullshit liar Blake Lively is for bringing these stupid allegations, because it reflects upon women everywhere. And he's aiming to be this champion for women. My ass, she is. Suck all of the eggs for that.
I'm sorry to hear that, OSV.
Oh, what a mess.
It's too many of us. The one you have up. Yeah, I've not been following the.
Oh, as you said that, I clicked on something else.
Said, yeah. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge her comment. And she mentioned Alex in the comment as well. And I just saw something. I don't know if you've heard of the channel. I follow them on X and on Instagram. It's called aholemedia.com. And she just put up something that showed, I don't know what year it was from, and I was going to ask them, and I didn't ask yet. But Alex Sachs, who seemed to want to take Justin's, there was some stuff that was released just like last week, I think, where it looked like they were wanting to take Justin's spot, but they did the same thing in another situation and ended up getting the role because someone was accused of something. And he is also denying it as well. I don't know the person. I don't know the people involved, and I don't know when it happened. But I thought that was interesting. And then they asked the question, because they dig in, they find that account finds so much stuff and posts it all the time on Instagram and on X too. But I don't know where they found this one, and I don't know when it happened. But they asked the question, did Alex teach Blake how to do this? Like whatever that other situation was. It seems like it seems like the new playbook. Accuse the man of this, and then you can get his job.
Yeah.
So,
And they didn't even need to take it that far. It feels
thank you,
like
Zaza.
Zaza. What does that even say? I'm going blind. Zaza. Oh, those are sevens.
Yeah.
What am I looking at? With the 5 says first live I get from you guys. I'm in Barcelona, Spain. Barcelona. I love Barcelona.
I haven't been there.
It is one of my potential retirement destinations.
Nice.
I'm just gonna live in Spain. How about that? I love Spain.
Why not?
I can't speak the language for shit, but I blend in. They're a lot better than I do over here. So it says first love I get from you guys. I'm from Barcelona, Spain. So time difference. I think they're like what 9 hours ahead. I'm in love with both your voices and integrity.
Aw,
yeah,
thank you.
Cassidy is not AI. I am not AI.
I used to be accused of AI at least once a week, and then I started doing lives. I still get it every now and then when I do my pre-recorded stuff.
That was my introduction to you. It's like, hey, you got to hear this lady's voice. She sounds like AI. It's like, really? Let me see. It's like, yeah, she kind of does. She could be like the sat nav in my car or whatever. So I need to make a left turn in 200 yards. For sure. I'll tell you what I'm going to do with this, and I'm sure you're going to do other stuff with some of these depositions.
I keep forgetting to look at chat, but I sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
they're talking about what I read.
Oh, what'd you read? What am I missing?
Jesse and Max, I think is the. Oh wait, a lot of people. Sorry guys, I haven't been paying attention to chat.
Well, you pay attention better than Jesse and Max. Here it is. Andrew Duncan was Alex Sachs' financier for June Picks. He was a producer and is a humanitarian and was accused, he said, falsely, and Alex took over the company, buying Duncan's shares out. Yeah.
2018, Carrie Davies said. So that's interesting.
I'm telling you, it's a playbook. It is a move. I mean, what are you going to do? It feels like you just throw some shit out there, and Hollywood
so it was
reactive.
So go ahead.
No, I was done. I'm just making that point because it's so because Hollywood circles are so predictably overreactive to everything. Just the mere threats of a false allegation could be perceived as coercive control. I really believe that. Continues on. Is that the one we just read? Oh, you're reading this one above, right? The company was June Pictures. The co-owner was Alex Sachs. Andrew Duncan was accused of sexual harassment. She eventually bought him out. Look it up. June Pictures 2018. Yeah.
Interesting.
I was cut up on this one. Is there something about cucumbers? Can you ever say cucumber, Omar? Why?
Oh, you don't know about
I don't know.
Baldwin, Alex Baldwin's wife? She was on TV and she was pretending she didn't know the English word for it. And then come to find out she
buys a lot of cucumbers. I still don't get it.
Spanish was not her mother tongue. She was trying to make the world think that.
Okay, so she said it like an accent. I get it.
Yeah. She was somewhere from. Oh, I'll never get all this straight. It was just like something I wasn't like overly concerned with, but it was hilarious. She's from, I don't know, somewhere. I forget all the details. It was a big story. It was a really big story because she was faking, and her family would go to Spain a lot. They had like a vacation home there or something, and then she pretended that she was Hispanic, but she wasn't.
Oh boy, one of those.
I couldn't remember the word for cucumber or something like that.
I'll tell you what. I mean, I am.
I slaughtered that story.
I can't even fake a Spanish accent. I mean, I'd have to switch my brain. Like I don't know what kind of accent I have, but it's not a Spanish one. But all right, I'm going to have to look up the cucumber story now, just for curiosity.
Let's see. They probably know in the chat. Let me look at the.
What I was going to say is, I'm going to be doing more videos or more lives, maybe tomorrow, on these depositions, because there's a lot to break down here.
There really is.
Yeah,
and I just stumbled back home.
I know you're back from Germany, right?
Mm-hmm.
Globetrotter, you are over there.
Yeah.
there was one portion that I just found. It just made me think of Anita because I just want to make sure that none of this is should be redacted. I don't think it is. You know what? I'm going to gamble and just put it up. How about that? It was just this portion here. It struck me. The question was, were you scared of things that Blake Lively or Ryan Reynolds might do? This is Justin Baldoni. His response: I was terrified of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively in general, especially considering they had just threatened us and said they were taking the gloves off. If I didn't release a statement. What did you understand taking the gloves off to mean? Again, I didn't know. I know what they were able to. Are you okay? Excuse me. Yeah, I know somehow they were able to take my movie from me, so I didn't know what they were capable of, which 100%, it seems like they were able to do that. And so I read that, and his fears are justified. And I think that, like, just going back to my previous point, people are going to take people's reactions to Baldoni's testimony, especially this right here, because I think that what they're going to try to do is paint Justin as being unreasonably paranoid, the same way that they're trying to paint Blake Lively to be unreasonably uptight about this sexual harassment stuff. And they're just trying to see what the unofficial score is going to be. There's more stuff to this. Is that what you believe happened and they took the movie from you? Yes. Were you scared at this point in time that Blake Lively might make public any of the accusations about your on-set behavior that she had made privately to you and to Sony? Objection form. I was afraid. Are you okay? I was afraid of lies coming out about me. Lies from Blake Lively? Yes. About your behavior on set? Well, it was one of the things, lies in general. I didn't know. I mean, at this point, I was already made aware that her team was pitching stories that I was in a cult. And I had already been told that Mr. Reynolds had told agents that I was a predator of some kind. So I was made aware that there was damage that they were trying to do to me already, and I didn't know what they were capable of. Is it fair to say that at this point in time, you wanted to defend yourself in the event that Blake Lively made public some of the accusations about your on-set behavior that she had already made privately, including to you, and that came from Melissa to who? To someone else? Look on 143. And then inside that text message, it's a screenshot that Melissa included of a text message between me and Jen. It looks like that. All right. Flip to 150, if you would. Miss Shapiro, 150. The screenshots in the black boxes were, do you recognize that as a text? That's my name. So I would assume it is. What they're basically trying to do here, they're obviously trying to pin him. They're trying to get him to admit that he was acting prophylactically against Blake Lively, which would give rise to a motive to do what they're accusing him of doing. That's their strategy with these questions. Is he scoring any points or not? This, in my opinion, is the epitome of why they released this. This was not incidental. They did this on purpose.
They absolutely did.
Yeah, because look, they need to know how people are going to react to this line of questioning, because they're going to try to paint him as a prophylactic actor, that he was trying to conjure up PR, negative PR against Blake Lively and frame her out to be a movie stealer, a liar, or whatever, or this or that, whatever they're going to say. And it was based on his unreasonable belief that they were trying to steal the movie out from under him. Because when they're phrasing their opening statements, they're going to be like, look, Blake Lively was there to make a movie. Justin Baldoni was there to produce. Blake Lively did her best every single day to come on set and make a movie and act the part and do the things, but she had to put up with a hostile work environment. And then later, because Justin Baldoni was so unreasonably, what's the word I'm looking for? Unreasonably paranoid that people were trying to steal the movie from him. He started to go to the public, he started to go to the press, and he started to quarterback a PR campaign of negative publicity against Blake Lively for the purpose of financial gain. That's what they're going to try to frame him out to be. That's where they're going with this line of questioning. Obviously, I don't agree with any of that, but that's what they're trying to do with this line of questioning. And they need to understand how the public is going to react to this specific line, among like a million other things in this deposition. And so I really want to spend some time dissecting this deposition and going into some of the stuff, because I think that people would be interested in it. But there's a part of me that's like, that's exactly what they want you to do. And then it's like, I know they want me to do that, but it's like,
but you got to do it.
yeah, I mean, it's already out there, you know?
And there's so much about this deposition that makes me feel like they planned to leak it all along. Not only what you just said, but also the way they keep coming up to him with, well, did you see where Melissa Nathan said this about you? Did you see where Jen Abel said that about you? Like beating him down, trying to like hurt him. And I don't know. I was trying to sort out like what's the motive behind this? What are they trying to get him to do? You know, how will this work for them? But the more, you know, and I couldn't come up with how this benefits them. Like whatever. So they hurt his feelings. What's that going to make him do? And then, but if you're looking at it from this viewpoint, that it gets leaked,
right?
The public reads it. The public says, well, even Jen Abel said this about him. Well, even Melissa Nathan said that about him. And they were representing him. He must really be a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like I could just see so many things about this deposition took place not even to get actual questions for the case, but specifically for PR in the future when it in whole or in part could be put into documents.
Keep in mind, what are the odds that the actual jurors are going to have read through all these deposition transcripts? Like pretty much slim to none, right?
Right.
And if they did, they're not making it on the jury. Now, could they lie about it?
They
Sure,
shouldn't.
I'm sure they can. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like there's a testing involved, and you know what's the cost? It's like the cost of doing business. Okay, so we get sanctioned, whatever. We'll pay the freaking sanction. It's worth the risk if we're going to get all this other benefit from it, because this goes to the merits of the case. Because you're going to get questions like this from Jody, but Omar, did she have to put up with it? Because if she was an independent contractor, she could have just walked away. Maybe, or maybe she was financially invested in the film just as much as they were, and wanted to ensure its success. And so it wasn't just, you could just walk away because it was a hostile work environment. Everybody had a tremendous amount of financial upside if this were to go well. And so the financial incentive was such that she couldn't just walk away because she had too much to lose. I mean, that's going to be their argument. But these kinds of questions is like prospective jurors, the questions that they're going to have in their minds. And then you start molding your case in chief to answer these questions to give yourself the fewest amount of holes possible when you get to trial. That's why they did this. It's so clear to me. I'm convinced that this was their strategy all along. They did this shit on purpose. That's all I really got to say about that.
And their entire case, in my opinion, has been based on PR.
Yeah.
More than anything, because that's what Blake cares about more than anything.
I mean, more than Baldoni. And they were accusing Baldoni of being the PR demon in all of this, right?
Well, everything they've accused anyone of is actually what they themselves have been doing this whole time.
If she wasn't an independent contractor, she wasn't an employee. Yeah, I don't think the employee thing is the reason why she wouldn't walk away. It's just that she couldn't just walk away because of, well, I'll let them make those arguments. You know what? I'm not going to. How about that? That's a great point. 100% is.
Can you click Alegna 52?
Oh, here we go. Did you want me to know
No,
it?
there was
a different one?
Further up. Sorry.
Here we go. There was a part in Jamie's deposition where they were telling him that Colleen leaked stuff to Daily Mail, and he said to them, "Are you telling me this because you have a question about it, or just?"
Right. Justin and Jamie were brilliant. Absolutely brilliant in their depositions.
That just goes to good prep. I mean, look, there's a whole spiel.
And they're good people, I think. I feel like they're just nice people.
Have you ever had your deposition taken?
Me?
Like, have you ever had to sit for and answer questions at a deposition?
No.
Well, when I prep my clients for a deposition, I always go, I have like it's not a script. It's just like stuff I've advised a million times. Like, look, this is a game, and the game is simple. They're trying to get you to talk as much as possible. The more that you talk, the less that you're winning. The more that you talk, they win. So if at all possible, when they ask you a question, you answer it in as few as words possible. If you can answer it with a yes or a no, then do it. If you can answer it without a yes or a no, then do it. Look, there's a difference between I don't remember and I don't recall. Or I don't know. You need to know the difference. If you don't remember, it means you knew it at one point and they're going to ask you about that again. If you don't know, then you never knew, and you need to know the difference between that because it could get you in a lot of trouble. If I ask you what you had for breakfast, you tell me what you had for breakfast. I don't want to know that you woke up at 6 a.m., that you cracked a dozen eggs, that you made like a Spanish omelet, that you had a couple slices of bacon, and that you're out of orange juice, so you had to drink water, and then you were late to work because there was traffic or whatever. I asked you what you had for breakfast. Tell me you had friggin' eggs. That's it. I don't want to hear it. And if you're talking too much, I'm going to be seated next to you. If you feel me kick you in the shin, it means shut up. I mean, we'll go through this whole, it takes longer than that, but yeah. I'm just willing to guess, just having reviewed Baldoni's, some of his responses, he was well prepared for this deposition.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm going to wrap this up because I've been going for 11 minutes longer than I intended. But I am going to revisit this probably tomorrow.
Okay.
Late afternoon or so on a Friday. We still got to do our Murdaugh stuff.
Yeah. Do you still want to do that tomorrow?
We can.
Okay. I got to grab my screenshots.
Yeah. Unless you have a different day that you want to do it, I'll be available on Saturday and or Sunday as
Okay.
We will.
Yeah, maybe weekend might do better. Saturday or Sunday. Either day is okay for me.
I'll tell you what. Let's plan on Saturday.
Okay.
And then Friday, I'm going to return to these deposition stuff, and I'm going to get more in depth into the responses and just opine what I think they mean for the merits of the complaints. And then we'll take it there. And of course, you're always welcome to join. Maybe Lauren will join. Maybe we can make it a party.
Yeah.
But I've seen Lauren's live stream parties on Fridays. I'm kind of frightened of them, to be honest with you.
Why?
They get kind of crazy. At one point, they accused me of not wearing pants. It's like, Omar, I promise I'm wearing pants. And this is that kind of stuff.
All right.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for coming on. I needed the help tonight because it's a lot to get through with this.
It is. It really is. And I was working on something else. Equally exciting, but very different. And it's going to take time for the whole thing to get out. But yeah, it's not great news for Leslie Sloan. But yeah.
Let that be the teaser. We will get back to that tomorrow.
Let that be the teaser. Yeah. So keep that in mind, guys.
Well, it's like I think it's bedtime. I need to get to bed. I'm literally, over the last 5 days, I've accumulated like 10 and a half hours of sleep.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to try to get in 5 hours tonight. So
yeah, it's 2:20 here for me, but I've got jet lag. I'm still in Germany time, so.
Oh, well, if that's the case, have some Surstrumming or whatever. Is that the thing in Germany or is that Switzerland? I think that's Switzerland, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Don't look it up. It's awful.
Okay.
Well, do look it up. It's just a really disgusting food that is a delicacy that I think the Swedes really like.
Oh.
Not that Swedes are from Switzerland. Just never mind. Just you know what? It's late. It's time for me to go to bed.
Okay. Get a potty chair.
I'm going to get a potty chair. That's a really good idea. That's my main takeaway for this live stream. All right, folks.
All right.
Y'all
have a good night.
Bye-bye.